Hey, Bobcats. All right, so yesterday we read the remainder of chapter 9 where um, Peter took Alex and Jimmy to the movie, but they also agreed to take Fudge and Daniel and what that was like. And then the mom, when they got home, made a dinner that purposely Daniel wouldn't eat, so she could probably get rid of Daniel. But so chapter 10, we're going to read this half of it today and half of it tomorrow. It's called Santa Who? My father signed up for 10 Chinese cooking lessons. He bought a wok, which is a big round pot, and 4 cookbooks. Most nights he would sit in front of the fire reading. When you finish writing your book, maybe you can open a Chinese restaurant, I suggested. I don't want to open a restaurant, Dad said, thumbing through the A to Z of Chinese cookery. I just mentioned that because Jimmy Fargo's father used to be an actor and now he's a painter, so I thought maybe you were going from advertising to writing to cooking. No, Dad answered. Cooking will be a hobby for me, not a profession. Oh, I said. Then I added, I like to know what's going on, and sometimes you forget to tell me. Nothing's going on, Dad said. He flipped through a couple of pages, then turned to Mom. What do you think about making this for tomorrow night? Stir-fried chicken with green onions, mushrooms, water chestnuts, and a touch of ginger. Sounds good to me, Mom said. Cocoa and animal crackers sound good to me, Fudge said. He'd been very quiet tonight, stretched out on the floor with a pad of paper and a fat green crayon. Anyone else for cocoa and animal crackers? Mom asked, getting out of her favorite chair and yawning. Me, I called. Make it unanimous, Dad said. What's unanimous? Fudge asked. It's when everyone agrees, I explained. Everyone agrees, Fudge repeated. That's nice. I like it when everyone agrees. What are you so busy drawing? I asked. I'm not drawing. I'm writing. What are you writing? A letter to Santa. Isn't it a little early? I asked, since we're still eating leftover turkey from Thanksgiving. It's never too early, Fudge said. Where'd you hear that one? I asked. From Grandma, he said. I thought so. That makes it unanimous, Fudge said. Hey, Dad, I said. I wish you'd think twice before you use big words in front of him. Now he's messing up another one. Messing, Fudge babbled. Must be pretty hard to write a letter when you can't even write, I said to him, chuckling. I can write. Since when? Since I was born. Very funny. Just because you never see me write doesn't mean that I can't. Right, Dad? Good reasoning, Fudge, Dad said. Let me see that letter, I said, suddenly wondering if the kid really did know how to write. Maybe he is some kind of genius and my parents don't want me to find out because I'm just a regular kid, I thought. Maybe they already know that he's going to skip first and second grades. Worse yet, maybe he's going to skip all of elementary and wind up in 7th grade next year, with me. Worse than that, maybe he's going to be one of those kids who goes off to college at 12. There will be stories about him in all the news magazines, and people will say to me, Hatcher, that sounds familiar. You aren't by any chance related to that child genius Fudge Hatcher, are you? And I'll have to admit, yeah, he's my little brother. And they'll scratch their heads and say, wow, too bad some of it didn't rub off on you. Then they'll laugh and walk away. I reached over and grabbed Fudge's letter. I looked it over carefully. It's just scribbling, I said, feeling relieved. It is not, Fudge said. Santa's never going to be able to read this, I told him. He'll read the important part. There's only one word that makes sense, I said. Bike. That's the important part, Fudge told me, grabbing back his letter. I'll help you write a real letter, I said. This is a real letter. I'll help you write one to go along with this one just in case Santa has trouble understanding what you want. I could see Fudge thinking over my offer. When he's thinking hard, he scrunches up his lips and looks like a monkey. Okay, he said, and he passed me the green crayon and a fresh piece of paper. I'll tell you what to say. He stood over me and began to dictate. Dear Santa, please bring me a 2-wheeler bicycle. It should be red, just like Peeta's. Come on, I said. Be original. Ask for a blue bike or a yellow one. Red, he repeated, just like Peeta's. And no training wheels. Training wheels are for babies. He paused. Go on. That's all. I'm finished. I can sign my own name. He printed Fudgy in big letters at the bottom of the page. Aren't you going to write your last name too? I asked. No. Suppose Santa gets mixed up. He won't. How do you know? There aren't that many kids named Fudge, but just in case I'll put an H after my name. That way he'll be sure. Mom came back from the kitchen carrying a tray, and we all spread out on the floor and had cocoa and cookies. I'll mail your letter tomorrow, Dad told Fudge. Do you know Santa's address? Fudge asked. Yes, Dad said. What is it? I can't remember, but I have it in my file, Dad said, and he and Mom smiled at each other. Daniel is asking for a bicycle too, Fudge repeated 2 mornings later, so we'll be able to ride to school together. If Santa brings you a bike, I reminded him. Why wouldn't he? I'm a good boy. Aren't I a good boy, Mommy? I didn't wait for my mother to answer. There are a lot of kids who can't get what they want, even if they deserve to get it. There are a lot of kids who... Why can't they get what they want? Fudge asked. Because toys and bicycles cost money, I said. So, Santa doesn't have to pay. That's not exactly how it works, I said, gulping down my milk. Then how does it work? Ask Mom or Dad, they'll tell you. I gathered my books and zipped up my jacket. How does it work? Fudge asked. Hurry up, Fudgy, Mom said, avoiding his question, or you'll be late for school. When I got home that afternoon, I cornered my mother. I don't think it's a good idea for you to let him go on believing in Santa. He thinks you can get whatever you want by just asking. He doesn't know about people who can't afford to buy presents. You should do something about that. After all, you told him where babies come from. How can a kid who knows where babies come from still believe in Santa? I don't see what one thing has to do with the other, Mom said. But I do agree that sooner or later he'll have to learn that Santa is just an idea. She sighed. But for now, he's so enthusiastic, and the idea of Santa is so lovely that Daddy and I have decided it can't possibly hurt. So please, go along with us for a while, Peter. I suppose you're going to tell Tootsie all about Santa, too. I suppose so, Mom said. Well, I think it's a mistake, I said. I turned and walked away. I couldn't remember ever having believed in Santa. When I was 3, I caught my parents stacking presents under the tree, and by the time I was 5, I knew exactly where to look for the presents my parents thought they had carefully hidden for me. And this year, I already knew that I'd be getting a check from Grandma and a clock radio from my parents. I heard Mom and Grandma discussing it on the phone last weekend. Sometimes I think it would be more fun to be surprised on Christmas morning